In this example, we are going to look at the effect of having a multiple zero. So a multiple zero is when you have a factor that has an exponent. So that factor, at this point, the a value is set at 1, right? So it's not a multiple zero yet. So as x minus 1 is one factor. If I change the a value to 2, then it's considered a multiple zero because x minus 1 squared. It's actually like x minus 1 is there more than once. And then 1 would be considered a multiple zero because it actually counts as two zeros in one, essentially, right? So one thing to note here is when the multiplicity of a zero is odd. A multiplicity is how many times a multiple zero occurs. When it's odd, the function crosses through the x-axis. So in this case, when the a value is 1, for the 0 of 1, it crosses through. When the multiplicity of a 0 is even, the graph has a turning point on the x-axis, meaning it touches at the 0 and then turns around. So if I slide this to 2, now you can see it's stopping and turning around. If we now make it 3, it's going to cross back through. Okay. Make it 4, stops and turns around. Make it 5, passes through. Make it 6, stops and turns around. So that's what it's looking like there. Every time it's even, it stops and turns around. Every time it's odd, it crosses through. It's that simple. That's the rule. So for the try it part here, you're just describing the behavior for each of the zeros that are given. So why don't you give these a try, and then we'll come back and compare. All right, it is all based on the exponent on the factor that the zero came from. So for x, the 0 is 0. There is no exponent, so it's like it's 1. 1 is odd, so it will pass through. For x plus 4, the 0 is negative 4. Again, no exponent means exponent's 1, which is odd, so it passes through. For a 0 of 1, it comes from a factor that has an exponent of 4, which is even, so it's going to stop and turn around. Looking at part B, x squared plus 9, you're not going to get any zeros out of that. So question's kind of moot there. X minus 1 has an exponent of 5, so the 0 of 1 will pass through because 5 is odd. X plus 2 gets you a 0 of negative 2. It has an exponent of 2, so it will stop and turn around. All right, let's take a look at example 3.